Hi everyone, and welcome to MojoTalks. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer. We're really excited about it. I'm your host, Matt Wendy, and with me is resident comic expert, Justin.
How's it going, everybody?
So, we've taken a look at this before, but we're going to be watching it again with you guys, and we're going to be picking out some of the details that we noticed and some things that we maybe aren't too sure about.
Yeah, should be fun.
All right, let's get started. So, starting off right away, we've got a random wide shot of city.
Beautiful skyline.
So right off the bat, we're seeing that the effects of Civil War are still having an impact on this movie. What do you think about that?
I mean, first of all, it's kind of goofy to me that they chose to put this in black and white. I mean, I know it's Civil War. I don't really need the flashback cue.
Yeah, but how else would you know it's from the past, Justin?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, thank God, because I was been like, is Captain America in this movie? Who would have thunk? But yeah, I mean, look, the last time we saw Ant-Man was obviously in Civil War, so the consequences of how we left off with the raft and the consequences of basically the Avengers being outlaws, prisoners, you know, we're left to the conclusion that Cap broke them out somehow. So when we pick up with Ant-Man, we'll have to see how they deal with that. It would be kind of weird for this big Thanos-like, you know, earth-shattering event to happen, and then a few months down the line we have like what's looking like a heist movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Marvel has described this as their first romantic comedy to come out of Marvel Studios, which I'm actually kind of excited about.
Yeah,
so,
we'll see what a superhero romantic comedy. I mean, maybe it is less like My Super Ex-Girlfriend from a few years ago.
I mean, if anyone can pull it off, Marvel can.
There you go.
Anyway, but like you were said, if we go along right here, we're going to see Ant-Man under house arrest in just a few seconds. So I think that's really interesting what you said, because we have confirmed that Paul Rudd is going to be in Infinity War. He is on the cast list, as far as we know.
As far as we know.
As far as we know. So you can take this as a spoiler alert that he maybe doesn't die in Infinity War?
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say after two movies now, he's going to be one of the heroes that they want to go forward with. Ant-Man, as much of as a goofy character and kind of, you know, he's on his own comedic tone going on.
Right.
He is going to be a mainstay for like the next little while.
Random thought, is it possible they do kind of a Jason Bourne type thing with this? So like the first half of the movie takes place before Infinity War, and then the second half they're showing the effects afterwards.
Interesting. I don't think so, only because we still have the next Avengers movie, which will be the continuation. So I feel like they're going to leave that stuff for those movies, and which is more evidence, I think, that this movie will try and maybe take place a bit before Thanos shows up on Earth, just because it would be weird to be like, yeah, sure, the threat of Thanos, but like we need to go rob some tech or whatever.
Yeah,
I feel like it would be kind
course.
of weird. Let's keep going. So here, yeah.
Like you said, under house arrest. The question is, maybe he saved the day in Infinity War, and this is kind of his thank you. Like, okay, like, we won't bring you back to the raft, but you're still a criminal, so we'll stick you.
It's possible. Yeah. That's an interesting angle. I mean, it remains to be seen, but that's true. And he's going to be under the watchful eye of the FBI. It seems like. So we'll see what happens.
Right.
This is hilarious. Great little tidbit.
And I'm really glad they brought the comedy back from the last movie, because I thought that I actually really enjoyed the comedic aspects of it.
Yeah, for sure. And like, there's a lot that can be mined from just having, you know, things get big and small.
Yeah,
can be funny.
There's a surprising amount of gold there.
Yeah.
This is an interesting shot, because right now we are looking at Perry White.
No, not anymore.
Not Perry White.
Not anymore. This is
almost slipped it past you.
This is Giant Man, or otherwise known as, what's the name of the character?
The character's name is Bill Foster, aka Goliath.
Goliath, who at one point was also Giant Man. It's very confusing. Characters have long lineages. There's like 5 Goliaths and 13 Giant Men or whatever. But in this movie, we're gonna probably get to see a character dedicated. If I had to guess, I would say he's probably going to end up being Goliath. But it'll be interesting to see another character who also has those shrinking powers to play alongside the villain of the piece, who we'll get to in a little bit.
Right, and I was curious, do you think he's a villain? Because in the comics...
No, it's pretty clear that he's going to have some sort of role to play in relation to the villain. I feel like they're going to have some sort of, like, chemistry together. He's gonna be brought in as a result of the new villain. I think he'll be a good guy, but it might take a while for him to get there. We'll see how it plays out. But
Right.
I'm excited to see Lawrence Fishburne in a Marvel movie.
Absolutely. All right, I love this chase sequence, the way they just kind of like sneak under and...
Again, things
like
getting
said,
small and big can be funny.
And there we have giant Ant-Man. So looming over this ferry of people. He looks big there. Like bigger than he was in Civil War.
Yeah, much like it seems like they're gonna play up that aspect again. We didn't get to see that in the Ant-Man movie, but since we've seen that power in Civil War, it stands to reason that we'll see a bit more of it moving forward.
And that was a great set piece.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Oh, and then here we have.
Oh,
it's gonna
you
be
had
tough
it for
to
a second.
grab it. There we go.
And there you go. That is the villain. What's her name?
Well, this is Ghost, and in the comics, Ghost is a man, but they've changed gender. And the actress playing, what was the name of the actress?
The actress's name is Hannah John Kamen? Kamen. Let's go with Kamen.
Let's go with Kamen. And what's interesting, this is actually an Iron Man villain.
Really?
Who they're bringing on a very technologically like advanced villain who uses a technology that she, in this case, created, which allows her to become invisible and move through objects. Kind of like Shadowcat from the X-Men, but with technology instead of just mutant abilities. And because it's Ant-Man, I feel like it was the right call to bring in an Iron Man villain, since they're both very technologically driven characters.
And throughout the MCU, they've kind of been interchangeable. I mean, in the comics, Hank Pym invented Ultron, right?
That's correct.
But
that's a good point.
Age of Ultron, they gave that to Iron Man. So maybe they're like, all right, I like that they're kind of playing fast and loose with them.
Yeah, and it's cool to see like we get Iron Man villains that we wouldn't otherwise see because his trilogy is kind of done. And this is a cool character. I mean, in the comics, it's a lot more. Ghost is kind of this like creepy, looming figure.
Because usually in the MCU and comic book movies as a whole, when you get these villains, they're very like, I'm powerful, I'll break everything, like Zod and Superman. But to see an enemy like this who can sneak around and sort of go behind enemy lines to fight the hero, that's a very interesting aspect to me, and I'm really excited to see how that plays out.
Kind of a mix between tech and like an actual Phantom.
You mean like with the white sheet and everything?
No, not full on a Ghost story levels, but just a lot more creepier than this. But let's move on. Let's see what else we can find.
All right. Okay, for a second there, we saw our heroes going microscopic, and we saw that ship earlier. What do you think they're doing here?
Well, it seems to me like they're going after Hank Pym's wife, the original Wasp.
The original Wasp, yeah.
Who, as we saw in the first Ant-Man movie, went subatomic to prevent some nuclear disaster.
Yeah, she saved the world, and it was a very brave sacrifice.
And that was the last we saw of her. And this seems like the movie is shaping up to be a rescue mission, to go subatomic and bring her back.
Obviously, in the climax of the original Ant-Man, Ant-Man did go subatomic, and he did save the day with it. So obviously, that has an effect in this movie. And like you say,
knowing that they can do it and make it out is like reason enough to try and save Hank Pym's wife. So it'll be interesting to see.
All right, let's keep going. See what happens next. And I love that they made Wasp a badass in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it would have been really easy to just write her out as like, oh yeah, the sidekick, but no, she is right there in the thick of it, and we have a couple jokes about the powers she has that...
You gave her wings and blasters. So I take it you didn't have that tech available for me? No, I did.
So that'll be interesting to see. It's a little cooler that Wasp gets to have her own flying ability, so Ant-Man will be left in the dust a little bit at some points, but yeah, that's cool.
I mean, like, women in superhero movies, it's happening right now, and it's really exciting. We saw Wonder Woman, we're getting Brie Larson playing Captain Marvel, and so to have such a big role for Wasp in this, I think is a really great idea on Marvel's part.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. And
great logo.
Yeah, like really cool, right? I love this. Like, it's just... Obviously, you throw a giant Hello Kitty Pez dispenser at the bad guy. Like, how else would you deal with them?
The theme of this episode is things going from small to big equals laughs.
Yeah.
It's funny every time.
Well, I don't know about you, Justin, but I am stoked to see this movie. It's coming out in July, and there's going to be a link in the description below to a suggest page where you can vote for what you want to see in the upcoming movie. See you next time.